An MCU reboot is happening. And over the past couple of weeks, you may have heard some rumblings here and there about the MCU reboot. And at this point, enough reliable people are talking about it that I'm willing to say I am 90% sure it's happening. It's going to happen after Avengers Secret Wars. And of course, this is absolutely crazy, so I want to break it down for you in this video. I want to try to keep it simple, though, because there's a lot we don't know about how this is going to work out. But we also do have a surprising amount of information on why this is going to happen and what it's going to look like after Secret Wars. Now, in order to make this as simple as possible for you, I have to briefly talk about what we know of Marvel's plan for Secret Wars itself. We're in the multiverse saga right now. All kinds of universes are being destroyed, mostly by way of incursions. Seems like some of them are being destroyed by the TVA. Some of them are being destroyed by whatever's happening in Loki season 2 with the sort of unraveling or the spaghettification of entire timelines. All you need to know is that the multiverse is being destroyed. And as far as we understand it, when we get to Secret Wars, there will be nothing left of the multiverse. All of the different universes are going to be destroyed. Now, many of us had thought that after Avengers Secret Wars, and potentially Avengers Secret Wars Part 2, which might be called Eternity Wars. And that's a whole thing for other videos, but some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, man, we had assumed that after it was all said and done, the multiverse was going to be re-established. You were going to take everything that was destroyed and kind of set it back in its place. But what we're hearing these days kind of makes it seem like that's not going to happen, and instead, you're going to have a new Earth or a new universe created post Secret Wars. This has to do with some leaks and rumors when it comes to Deadpool 3. And apparently after the events of Loki season 2, the TVA is going to go out and start recruiting different people for this new Earth. So they're going to go around to different universes that are being destroyed, and they're going to grab up some heroes from those different universes and bring them to new Earth. Now, it also seems like while that is going on, they're also secretly recruiting a multiversal team of Avengers, which is probably going to take place, you know, in Secret Wars. They're going to show up. We've heard of this big portal-like scene from Avengers Endgame where they're going to open up all the portals and it's going to be different characters from all kinds of different Marvel movies from the past. This is going to be a really big moment in Secret Wars. Seems like the end of Secret Wars will result in this new Earth being sort of the new timeline, and there won't be an Earth 616 anymore. Maybe there won't be Sony universes anymore, although that's a little complicated. Maybe there won't be any of the Fox X-Men universes at all anymore. Again, not really sure. But regardless of all of that, it seems like what Kevin Feige wants to do is create a new MCU post-Secret Wars, which will sort of consolidate some of the universes that are already out there. And I want to shout out Paul from Heavy Spoilers. He did a video about a year ago, maybe even longer, talking about the first details that he had heard with regards to Secret Wars. He talked about Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. And one of the interesting things he said in that video that really caught my attention was the fact that Feige wanted to do a new MCU where he kind of consolidated everything, potentially bringing some Fox X-Men into the MCU, potentially bringing Tom Hardy's Venom into the MCU. And I remember thinking, that's pretty freaking wild. And I guess the reason I want to shout Paul out is because I think he was dead on. And in fact, I think he was the first person out there talking about how that was a legitimate plan of Kevin Feige's. Now, fast forward a whole year and more later, and we've got Can We Get Some Toast? We've got My Time to Shine Hello, and others talking about this reboot. And Joanna Robinson, one of the people that just created this crazy MCU book that's like blowing up right now, all these sort of secrets from the creation of the MCU, stuff you didn't know from behind the scenes. It's in this book. It's freaking incredible. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but it's dope. I recommend it. But in order to put that book together, she obviously got a lot of Marvel sources. She said she basically has a quote from Kevin Feige himself that sort of explains that, yeah, a reboot is happening after Secret Wars. Seems like maybe a way for Marvel to grab up some of the Fox X-Men that they want, establish them in the new MCU. And just a couple of days ago, My Time to Shine Hello said there's a new T'Challa in the new MCU reboot. I talked about that on stream. It got clipped out. A lot of people were talking about that online. And I think that's real. I think you're going to get a new T'Challa. And really what this is, in my opinion, is this is the Marvel Universe that Feige would have wanted to make if he had access to all the toys right away. So the Fox X-Men were completely off limits to him when he first started Marvel. So was Spider-Man. So was the Fantastic Four, because all of those licenses had been sold by Marvel in the 90s because they were almost bankrupt several different times in the 90s. Marvel actually buys back some of the licenses for some of their less popular characters to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But we know from a post-credit scene that was actually shot during Iron Man 1 that it was always Feige's intention to connect that universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to Spider-Man, into the X-Men, and there's all kind of examples of him wanting to do that. Well, now he can, I guess, other than the Sony stuff, right? So it's kind of interesting, like, what's going to happen with the Sony stuff? Will he be able to actually close a deal which would bring Spider-Man completely under his control? Or is he still going to have to just work with Tom Holland and work with Sony to continue to make that relationship thrive moving forward? I'm not really sure, but that's what it is. It's like a proper Marvel Cinematic Universe where we're going to have, I think, a new Tony Stark. I know that might be controversial, but I think it's time. New Tony Stark. Potentially a new Captain America. Chris Evans was dope. Maybe he'll come back and stay. I want to talk about that in a second too with the legacy actors, because I'm kind of confused about some stuff that I heard. But I think the main point is, like, Reed, Tony, those guys should be together. Doctor Doom should be a part of everything. The X-Men should be a part of what's going on at Marvel. Spider-Man should be a part of it. It should be more like what we get in Marvel Comics. So I think that's what you're going to get with this new MCU. And I also think Feige recognizes that it's just too much content at this point. Like, even the Infinity Saga was crazy. This is before Phase 4. It was already ridiculous, like a 23 movie length episode television show that kind of pays off in Endgame, and it was fantastic. But the more you start to add these different new shows, you know, your Moon Knights, your Hawkeye shows, which is really more about Kate Bishop, you know, all this other stuff that they want to do. It's just way too much. On top of that, you got Eternals, you've got Shang-Chi. It feels so crazy and disjointed, and it's really hard to wrap your head around the canon. So I think this new MCU will be a way for audiences out there and potential new audiences of, like, you know, people that maybe never checked Marvel out, or a lot of younger people that are looking for something cool to cheer for. Those people are not going to have to do all the investment of all the other Marvel stuff via the Infinity Saga and Multiverse Saga to be able to follow along and enjoy the New Earth MCU. So really what we're talking about here is it solves multiple problems at once. Now, a question I have, and I still don't fully know what this answer is, but a question I have is, who are going to be the actors that we already have in Marvel that are going to continue forward? Because I don't think it's a full reboot. I think it's going to be a soft reboot, very similar to what Marvel Comics often does, where they bring in a new status quo, they make some changes, but by and large, it's the same characters you've been with the entire time. But this new springboard, this new story moment, this reboot, it becomes a way for fans to jump on and start experiencing the new kind of canon stories together, right? So that's what I think's going on. But what's interesting is this idea of these prime Avengers, or the chosen one people from different universes. Like, Tom Holland is apparently the chosen one from Earth 616. That's a rumor. We don't know for sure, but it kind of tracks that, like, he's going to be Spider-Man in the new MCU. But it appears that Hugh Jackman Wolverine is the chosen one from his particular universe. So is Hugh Jackman going to not just be Wolverine in Deadpool 3 and then in Secret Wars, but is he going to be the actual Wolverine for this new MCU? A lot of people say, no way, he's way too old. But we're in a day and age where, I mean, he's come back, right? He said he was done. He's come back. You've got literally Luke Skywalker coming back. I know he hasn't been in anything recently, but he was in multiple shows. Mark Hamill actually coming back after saying goodbye for The Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, nostalgia plays. This deepfake stuff is getting easier and easier. Maybe they do want Hugh Jackman to be the Wolverine of this new MCU. I'm not really sure. And the Tom Hardy stuff's interesting. Like, yeah, Tom Hardy, a lot of people like him as Venom, and I think it's really cool. Are they going to reestablish him as Venom in 616, a different Eddie Brock, a new chemistry with Peter Parker? all kinds of changes. I mean, I'd be down. Is Tom Hardy down? And more importantly, is Sony down? Because, you know, look, they're on a diminishing return with a lot of their live action stuff, but the Venom movie, especially that first one, still made them a ton of money, and they felt like they didn't necessarily need Spider-Man. I think they've come around to understanding why that's important now via, you know, the second Venom movie and the post-credit stuff that they did in Spider-Man No Way Home. It's kind of unclear. What is that going to be like? And I think Feige's probably trying to figure that out as we speak. Like, they're mapping out Secret Wars. They've got a lot of stuff planned and figured out for that. But I think he's also thinking about this reboot. I mean, again, this is stuff that's been rumbling. They've been talking about it behind the scenes. Joanna Robinson is talking about an actual quote from Feige. So I think this is something that's on his mind. Another thing that's really important for us to remember when thinking about this is Feige had a plan for Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and Tom Holland Spider-Man to be his new Trinity after he, you know, kind of moves away from, you know, Thor, Captain America, and Tony Stark after Endgame, right? But obviously that didn't really work. I mean, Chadwick Boseman tragically passed. They decided to go a different direction with that. Carol Danvers is completely disillusioned with the fans. Like, they're, you know, that Joanna Robinson, again, was talking about in her book how Brie Larson is pretty much done with Marvel. Like, she's disillusioned after the whole hater campaign and everything that happened. I'm sure some of y'all feel differently about that. Your mileage may vary. The point is, she's not really committed, I don't think, either. And Tom Holland, I mean, yeah, he probably wants to do it, but Sony yanked that away from Kevin Feige in 2019 when, after the big gross from Far From Home, we all thought, oh, it's all going to work out, more Tom Holland Spider-Man 100%. No, Sony grabbed that license back, and even though they end up working together for No Way Home, I personally don't think Feige is willing to bet all of his money on Tom Holland as long as he doesn't have full control. So he's going to need to figure something out, and maybe bringing Tom Hardy into the new MCU is the solution, right? Where basically he's like, you can still make Tom Hardy Venom movies, but they're going to be in the MCU now. So I need to get Tom permanently because I need him really badly. And they move forward together. Maybe that is possible. And again, I think this is all stuff that Kevin Feige is thinking about right now. So look, that's a lot. And again, it's unclear. We've got to just wait and see as more information comes out. But one thing that is clear is it really seems like this reboot is real. It is happening. And, you know, it's probably going to be after Secret Wars. So I would love to know what you think about this, the questions that you have. We've been talking about this on streams. Figured I'd drop a big video kind of just laying it out there for you guys as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.